last 18 games, the top of the NHL standings. Was it important to bring Tarasenko in based on this is a guy who's won a Stanley Cup and knows what it takes?
Yeah. Certainly that plays a factor. I think we've said it a couple times. There's just look at our group, how much we learned, and we didn't win it, but how much farther along that, what would we call it? The learning curve as far as winning, the learning curve as far as sacrifice or what it takes to really win it. And yeah, that plays a big part in a lot of these guys and their contribution, and it does in our staff too. Even the Gregory Campbells and Sly and the guys who've won it. There's something about it that there's something that happened that they've experienced that they can share with the group, and it's of great value.
And take us through the timeline, just when everything started, when you were just the timeline of of how the trade unfolded.
Good one. I forget. I mean, I'm trying to recall one, probably a few weeks ago. So in the course of maybe early February, you start just canvassing around the league and talking to people who might be available. And you have to be a little bit careful because you got the bubble teams. And why would you ask me that? Why would you think So that's sometimes awkward, but you have your sort of check in with everybody every couple of weeks. What's going on? Is anything happening? And then, well, these guys, they're going to be UFAs. Do you think they might be available? Then they're on the list, and then you check back in. And just over the course of the last couple of days, we started to have more and more conversations. So it's really that. Honestly, it's that kind of elementary.
You've talked in the past about guys that want to be here, want to be Panthers. Vladdy's in a unique position where he trains here, he has a home here, he knows a lot of the guys. What did it mean to not only get a player that you wanted, obviously, for his skill set, but a guy that clearly, obviously, also wants to be here and likes the area already?
Yeah, that was one of the goals, when we started, is trying to create a team, an environment, an organization that you want to come there, that the value isn't just in the number on your contract, it's in your life and the team and your chance to win and the commitment from the Violas to help us, help the players, to help the fans, right? So it plays a big part, and one of the things that we're ever mindful of is the delicacy, the fragility of the room and the team and the community. And it was very fortunate that Vladdy he played with a couple of the guys, he trained with a couple of the guys, he's lived here, he's familiar here. Even a little thing like when he was acquired, we got him a plane ticket home. You're not okay. I'll go to my house, no problem, wife and kids, and it's easy, and the focus can be on hockey.
And how much do you talk to his former teammates, people who know him? Like in the course of the past couple weeks, you go up to guys who played with him and say, "Hey, what's he like?" Anything like that?
Yeah, and that's sort of the course. So we have all the pro scouts, and in the course of how they would do their diligence on the players they like through the course of the year, that's something you're always doing. You're always trying to stay aware, trying to check and double check, and just make sure that you get as much information on the person as you have as you do on the player.
And what was yesterday, Blake, for you? You end up kicking off pretty much a wild day of trades and all that stuff yesterday. You started it, trendsetter.
Yeah, kind of a hurry up and wait, and it, like even this morning, I mean, it's too many but it's just constant communication and being on calls and just seeing what might be available, what might work, what about this. Lots of, I guess we call it fantasy hockey. If we did this and did that, and what about next year, and what about 2 years from now, and can we sustain that? And if we do this, if we move these picks, how can we replace them? So, that's where the value of a guy like Uvis Belinskis will shine. And again, it goes back to the men and women down at the end of the hall, who tirelessly find those kinds of players, and that's what we have to do.
Along those lines, Bill, are the next 27 hours and 15 minutes, if my math is right, best day of the year or worst day of the year? What's the frenetic
it's-
push to the end, what's that like?
I guess it's different each time. So now, you know, we're going pretty good, and we're content with. We're not content, I should say. We're very happy with the group that we have. If we think that we can make the team better and give ourselves a better chance to win it, we would do it. But it's a very measured calculation, and not taken lightly. Even maybe sort of players who would fill a different role than a guy like a Tarasenko. But if there's something there that can help us now, or something that can also perhaps help us moving forward, then you balance. And so just a lot of micro calculations and sometimes personality things. It could be anything. So just busy, and I mean, based on the volume of calls and interactions, a very small number of transactions actually occur.
Paul said coaches love when you guys trade draft pick because it might be 7 years from seeing them, but he also said it was important for the room that you get a guy like Tarasenko, but you're also not rooting someone from that top 6, top 9. Is that something that goes through your mind too when you're making deals like
Yeah, absolutely, right. You is the perceived extra benefit from the acquisition really that much better than the risk you run of upsetting the whole room, right? Because the team will have success, right? If we just went and got the best players, you'd win it every year. It'd be easy. So the team is of paramount import.
This was the second time you traded for a guy that with a no trade clause who really wanted to be there. What was kind of different between this situation than the Giroux situation, where you gave up a bit less for Tarasenko here?
I mean, they're very similar, and there's a market, and there's when you have situations like this, you always try to make a fair deal and try to do the right thing, and I think we will always try to do that, and it's not as big a factor as you might think.
Bill, you talked about how you guys are going well now, and when you look back, you came in 3.5 years ago and talked about building the environment and everything. Are you pretty much what you envisioned at this point?
I think we're a little bit ahead of what I would have thought, probably. I'd be lying if I told you, oh yeah, this is the script. We've been blessed, and I know that you folks that cover us on a regular basis, you know that a significant degree of the team's success has to do with the character of the men in that room and our coaching staff. And that you can scout, you can do the background checks on the players, but you can't go get the character of Sasha or Matthew and have it in the superstars or the work ethic of a Bob. And it can't be overstated how important that is. And so coming in, yeah, they were all great players. I knew Bob's work ethic, but until you experience it one-on-one, that's not something I could have comprehended. It's that impressive to me.
Are there, as part of this transaction, will there be talks? Has there been any thought about his future?
Oh no, I mean, I want to make sure he got to practice in the morning. I haven't. So, but yeah, we'll see. It's next year's going to be. We're going to have a challenge on our hands, but we'll get through it.
Now, did you watch Were you upstairs watching the morning skate today?
No,
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah,
To
no,
see
I wish.
Tarasenko and Reinhardt with Barkov, to give Barkov 2 bona fides, that's got to feel pretty good to see. Just
yeah,
thinking
the
about
pressure's
that.
on Sasha now, boy.
Right.
He better deliver. No, we're, it would be fun, for obvious reasons, we can't invite you in, but the process is pretty neat. Like, it's constant evaluation of players and situations, and how would this work, and what about that, and if this happens, and then what about the money, and, well, if we do this, we need to have a team in 3 or 4 years. Like, it's a lot, but, yeah, it's what we do, so.
But Barkov has carried so many, Barkov makes so many people better. To put a Tarasenko and a Reinhardt next to him, it's got to take some pressure off Bark. Just
Yeah,
what they could do seems like astronomical.
I think it's exciting as that fan. The part of me just loves hockey and I'm really excited. But I didn't it's spoiled. You reach the point where you don't even think about how good Sasha is, and it's just sort of like, well, I must say I probably took it for granted. And when you paint that picture, it's like it's pretty exciting. But I just think that it's a nice addition to the team, and Vlad is the kind of guy I think you'll see that has that level of compete and work ethic, and will fit right in. Anything else?
Safe to say you were really excited to get to this morning skate?
Yeah, but I never made it. So a couple of announcements that, I think they speak to, who asked me about the culture when I got here? David, you did, yeah. What we're trying to do is just create a place that people want to come to, and that people understand that it's special, and we're going to do our best to put a winning team on the ice every night. We won't be successful every night, but we'll try. It's a little emotional because a couple players we signed to extensions today. Jonathan Gadjevich is going to extend for 2 years, and Forrest is going to extend for 8.
8 years.
And it sends a message that the guys want to play here, and guys are willing to buy in. And I think of Gustav, and not to celebrate him any more than Gadge, because Gadge does a hell of a job for us, and I'm proud of him too. But when you think about in 3.5 years what Gustav Forsling has accomplished, and then those of you who are lucky enough to know him, I said to him last night, it was pretty emotional. Like, the Violas own the team, but Forrest kind of owns part of that, because he helped create it because of who he is and how he got to where he is and the sacrifices that he made. I mean, we have a training camp list of expectations with regard to how conditioned you are, right? So the best conditioned guy. The competition's for second place. It's a joke. You can't even touch how prepared this guy is. And so I'm thrilled that he's on board, and we're just going to keep plugging away here and try to get the guys signed up and keep the core together. And I think it's a wonderful first step
Can you give us
to
a
do
number?
that.
Sorry, can you give us a number on?
No, it'll come out whenever.
But Bill, I'm
Yeah.
going to talk about culture, but Gustav's stock's never been higher. He could easily said, no thanks, I'll talk about it in the summer, I'll go to free agency. What does it mean that guys aren't even waiting for that anymore. 'Cause we've seen this before, the guys signing extensions early and just saying like, don't even need to see what's out there, like, this is great, this is what I
Yeah,
want.
that, you said it better than I do, thank you. Yeah, it's important, and it's meaningful, and it's sincere, and that, it makes it special.
I mean, for you, Gustav was one of the first moves you made. He was on waivers the first year you picked him up. I mean, what has it been like to see a guy you took a chance on, claimed off waivers to become this first pairing shutdown defenseman?
It's why, once you know him as the person, and I think I find myself saying this a lot more than, it's a luxury, right? So many times we talk about, well, this guy's such a great player, but he's a better person. And to know Gustav and the commitment that he has to his teammates, to getting better, to being as good as he can every night. And it's also a testament to our scouting staff, who have been, in my mind, the best in the NHL by far in the way that they've evaluated players and found people who are good players and good people. And then I guess it translates to the coaching staff in the room to give people chances and allow them to do the things they do well. So it's particularly satisfying.
You said it wasn't a big deal, the extensions and all that, but is it nice to get one of the biggies done with Forsling?
Yeah, I think it's, the situation surrounding Gustav is pretty special. Like, when you think about the guy was on waivers, and then this is third organization. But yeah, it's, they're going to get done or they're not. Like, I think that this, as much as anything else and just very practical, we'll find players that want to be Panthers. It's a pretty good place to be. And if it can't work out, there are some players for whom they do so well here that with our cap and the money we've already committed, we can't keep. And that's okay too, because then maybe the next guy who needs a chance can say, I'm going to go there so that I can keep moving forward. I'll either move there or I'll have a better career. But either way, I'm better off for having been a Panther. And that's what we strive to get to.
And Gadgovich, we didn't really talk about.
Yeah.
But a 2-year deal for him. He may not see a lot of playing time moving forward right now, but a lot of your guys seem to be okay with it because of the success.
Well,
Everybody wants to play.
different players have different roles, right? So pick a band, right? The drummer may not be the singer, but he's the drummer. And so you do your job as the drummer, and that's what Gadge does so well, and became a teammate, and he plays, and all he does is contribute and try to help in every single way he can. He came in injured at the beginning of the year, and still he battled through and did all the work and did his one-on-one sessions with Max every day, and that's a tough grind. That's not hockey, that's just work. And he did it, and he continues to improve, and we're thrilled to have him.
This is a one-way,
Yeah.
2-year one-way.
One of the interesting things, you get emotional over different things, and you were getting emotional because of your attack, because of...
I just have so much respect. I haven't slept a lot. I apologize to you. I think it's a pretty special achievement for that man and what he's done. I don't know. I never played. And I would do anything to have a chance to play. And when I think back at what must have been going on in his head 3.5 years ago, like, you're going to the minors, what? And to just achieve what he's done in the way that he did it, and it's inspiring.
Looking back, how do you find it? I mean, why him? Why do you say?
Well, that goes to the guys at the end of the hall, right? He's on waivers, like, yes, because they did their job, they knew him, and they had been prepared, and it was.
Did you know from day one that Forsling was maybe a little different? I mean, you guys
Oh
claimed
yeah,
waivers.
I knew when he was a peewee. I knew. Huh? I got to be honest with you. when he was on waivers and ours, there was no hesitation. Guys were pounding the table. He can play, he can play, he can play. I didn't know he was going to be this good.
Did Joel
I-
play any part of that? Because he had him in Chicago, didn't he?
Joel had him in Chicago. That Dudson Kropelka had him, and Paulie Kropelka had him in Carolina. And they were already here. And we had a scout named Blake Jeffrey on, who also, when we were in Columbus, he had liked him when he was in Rockford. So there was a lot of weigh-in on that. And kudos to those people for being right.
In negotiations with him, I would think, I mean, you got the max term. I mean, I would think they went pretty smoothly. I mean, you wanted him, he wanted here, so.
Yeah, it's a fantastic, fantastic result. So,
Bill, obviously everyone in the back there is excited about the full league extension, I'm sure, but Patrick Hornquist, I'm sure probably a little bit more excited than most. What was that
we
reaction?
didn't tell, no.
Yeah.
No, that was,
Did he felt that Gustav under his wing?
that,
I know they're
no,
tight.
they're tight, and you know, Patrick is, yeah, I think you can talk to him about it, and because I don't want to do disservice to what he would have to say, given his relationship with Gustav and how well he knows him, and but you should absolutely speak to Patrick, and he's been. If you could project what you think he might be in management based on how he was as a player, that's what he's like. And so it's great having him around, and he's contributing at a pretty high level.
Going back to Jonah, he came in on an AHL contract and the roster spot wasn't guaranteed for him. I mean, what did it take to kind of battle through the injury and kind of earn his way onto the team?
Yeah, it took a lot of hard work, patience, and you know, as I touched on before, I think there was a period of time when he was rehabbing, and it was just him and Max every day, and it was like, you know, yeah, it's fun to skate, it's fun to play hockey, even hard practices are fun, but you're just by yourself on the ice, and he did it. He did the work, so it was great.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.